There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God, there's just you and I. Hey everybody, welcome to There Is No God and We're All Gonna Die. I'm your host, Daniel Cartier. I'm a gay liberal atheist living in the Bible Belt, and this is episode number 13, which I'm recording right before Halloween on October 30th. And yes, if you have been tuning in this year, you'll notice that I did not post anything for the last month. I took a month off, and I am going to talk about that. It's actually pretty important. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot to say about that, actually. I had to take a month off because, well, I'll get into all the reasons. There was a bunch of reasons why I took a month off, but the short answer is that I was working a lot of hours. I was working about 80 hours a week between all the different clients that I have for web design and for social media marketing and all the other things that I do for my clients. And then on top of it, I had this huge music project come up, which was very time consuming. It literally was hundreds and hundreds of hours, and I do not say that lightly. And then on top of that, I was doing art fairs every week, and I was doing a ton of art, and then I had this huge art installation. So I was kind of running around like a crazy person, and in the middle of it all, I was posting these podcasts, which, don't get me wrong, I love doing these podcasts, but I don't get paid for doing them. They are kind of more of a passion project. They're like a labor of love. They're a way for me to get all the feelings that I have out into the open in a way that's a little bit more constructive than me just kind of bitching about stuff on Facebook. Like, I can actually harness all the feelings that I'm having about the world, and I can put it somewhere constructive, like in a 45-minute to hour-long podcast, and I can get a bunch of stuff off my chest and talk about stuff that's happening in the news and take some calls from people and talk about some, just cool concepts that I'm thinking about. So anyways, yeah, I took some time off because, people need a break. Sometimes we get to the point where we have just exhausted ourselves, and working as many hours as I was working and then doing this podcast, and, it's not like I'm who's it, like Joe Rogan? Like, I guess I've never listened to him, but I mean, I know he's like a big podcast guy and he's making millions of dollars. I'm not like that. This is just some dorky podcast I have. I'm just some fucking guy. Like, I'm not a big deal. I'm just this guy kind of pontificating online. If it ever became something more than that, like, whatever. I mean, like, that would be cool, I guess, but it's not like, that's not really why I started doing this, So yeah, when I started feeling overwhelmed between all the stuff that I was doing, I had to kind of tone it down for a second. I needed to really take care of my own mental bandwidth, my mental health, my physical health, because I was actually starting to get physically exhausted. And I know when people say that, it sounds very dramatic, but honestly, yeah, I was starting to get physically, like, medically exhausted. Like, I was driving my car and my eyes were rolling up into my head. So it was starting to get a little dangerous. So yeah, I needed to take some time off. But I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to be doing this again. And I do have a lot to talk about. I made a list, and you guys, I did not spend a lot of time on this list, but I did make a list of things that were on my mind. And so for this episode where I'm kind of diving back into things, I'm just going to read this friggin' list that I made. If you don't like the list, that's fine. If you like the list, that's fine, whatever. But this is just a bunch of stuff that's been on my mind, and I've had a month to think about it. And so, yeah, I'm going to just bang into this list. Oh, Daniel's gonna read a list of things. Thing number 1, I don't hate religious people. Can we just decide that once and for all? This continues to be a thing with me. I swear to God, even in that month that I took off, I still had people coming onto my Facebook page, sending me private messages via YouTube or even like my website saying, why do you hate religious people? And why are you so mean to religious people? And you're always poking fun at religion. And honestly, if you go back through every single episode that I've ever filmed, or if you've ever looked at anything I post online, I'm never making fun of religion. I'm not. I don't believe in religion because I'm an atheist, so there's that. But I'm not making fun of religion. I mean, I've said many times that my goal isn't to take away the religious belief of other people. I don't have any interest in that. First of all, I don't get paid enough to deconvert people from religion. And I'm not getting a paycheck for this. So it's like, if you want to believe in Jesus or Allah or like some other friggin' thing, like, honestly, go for it. Like, hats off to you. Like, life is too short. And I'm 56 years old at best. I have probably, another 30 years of living? Like, if I live to be 86, my dad lived to be 89, my mom lived to be 82. So, like, say I live to be, like, somewhere in there, like 86. I have 30 more years. Do you think I want to spend the next 30 years deprogramming billions of people who believe in religion on the... I'm sorry, but, like, first of all, I wouldn't be successful. Like, religion is like pretty much all over the fucking place. So at best, all I can do is, I don't know, just share what I believe. If people agree with me, great. If they don't, great, whatever, So that brings me to thing number 2. And thing number 2 may sound like a little harsh, but you guys, I don't fucking care. Here's what thing number 2 is. I do not give a flying fuck. I do not fucking care. And what I mean by that is, you guys, if you don't like my views on religion or on politics, because I know a lot of you MAGA people have loved to come on here and call me a pile of shit or tell me that I'm stupid or blah, blah, blah. You guys, I am a 56-year-old faggot. Like, I have been through so much fucking bullshit in my life. Seeing friends die of AIDS, like getting gay bashed, like having people call me a fag every single fucking day in my life. I've reached the point where I do not fucking care. I just don't. Like, you reach a point in life, and if you're younger and you're listening to this, I know this might sound alien to you because I know when we're young, what people think of us is so fucking important. And I get that. I do. But you will reach a point, hopefully someday. Not everybody does. Some people, they really care for the rest of their life what people think of them, and it consumes them, and that does actually become their higher power. They may say they believe in God. They may say they believe in this, that, or the other thing. But if you are consumed with what people think of you, that's your God. It's not God. God's not your God. That's your God. So for me, I don't have God because, it's like I'm an atheist. But what people thought of me for a long time, that consumed me. That was my God. Like, I chased after that. I chased after heart emojis, and I chased after likes, and I chased after this, and I chased after that, and chased after people paying attention to my music or liking things that I posted. And, I still post shit on Facebook because I'm a member of the human race and that's what we do. But I gotta tell you, like, I've reached the point in life where, to me, what's most important is my peace of mind. Honestly, spending time with my dog, spending time with my partner. I know this is gonna sound lame, but like watching TV, listening to music, exercising, hanging out with friends, making art, making music, like that's what's important to me. Like if I start making like what people think about me online or like what people comment in like the YouTube things where they're like, oh, you're a piece of shit or whatever. Or like even when they say like, oh, I love what you do. And I mean, that's nice to hear. But if I make that too important, then I really kind of like lose sight of why I'm even doing this. It's like, if this is to be liked or be popular or whatever, like, honestly, there's just so many better things to have as a goal, I think. And so I think thing number 3. Okay, I'm getting to thing number 3. Again, I'm actually not wearing my glasses, so my list is just like a bunch of hieroglyphics. So now I'm just kind of like doing the list in my head. Thing number 3. Wait, what the fuck was it? Shit, I just there. Now I don't remember what it was. Okay, so Thing number 3 is basically everything I'm talking about right now that's one of the reasons why I stopped doing this podcast for a little while, was because I needed to really figure out why the fuck I was even doing this. With everything else that I'm doing, music and art, and I had this huge music thing that I was working on. It was hundreds and hundreds of hours, all that type of stuff. And then you add the podcast on top of it. I had to really wonder, okay, why the fuck am I even doing this podcast? Is it even necessary? And so when I took the time off, it gave me a lot of time to think okay, does the world actually need me pontificating about politics and religion? Does the world need it? And a couple cool things happened that made me decide to start doing it again. One was that I was feeling really, I don't know, I've suffered from depression my whole life, and I've suffered from, I'm sorry, I have a really loud dog at my feet right now. Okay. I suffer from pretty major depression. I've suffered from depression my whole life, and I've suffered from, I don't know, suicidal feelings and stuff. Not to freak you people out, but it's a part of my story. I'm very open about it. And one of the reasons I'm open about it is because it takes the power away from those feelings. I do believe that we're only as sick as our secrets. And so it's really important when we struggle with stuff like that to share about it. And I've said many times, I'm kind of an open book, so I don't have any problem sharing about stuff like that. And the way I look at it, if I can share about the fact that I've struggled with suicidal thoughts most of my life, and depression and hopelessness and all this other stuff, maybe somebody else out there who isn't comfortable talking about that will hear me talking about it, and it will maybe make them feel a little less alone. And so that's why I share openly about it. It isn't to be dramatic or anything like that. But anyways, so I do struggle with stuff like that. And so when I took the time off from the podcast, I just started thinking okay, why am I doing this? And so then one day I was actually feeling really not having a good day. And somebody came up to me on the street in my little podunk town, and they just started talking about how they loved listening to the podcast and they looked forward to it. And they didn't agree with everything I said, but they were really, really enjoyed it, and that they couldn't wait for the next episode and all this other stuff. And, like I said, I'm not doing this for gold stars or for praise or anything, but it made me realize, sometimes we can overthink things, and we can get in our heads and start, I don't know, analyzing what we do a little bit too much. And I may have been doing that with the podcast as well, which what am I at? Thing number 5? Thing number 5, I think maybe I was making this podcast a little bit too complicated. I don't know, I kind of felt the need with every episode to be really up on all the current events. So before I would film a podcast, I would Google what was happening in the news, and then I would get all these news stories and stuff. And I'm not saying I won't still do that, but at the end of the day, there's so many people doing that right now that I don't really think that that's really what makes my podcast special. First of all, I don't really think my podcast is that special. I think it's just some guy talking about his thoughts. But, when people have a podcast, I think what makes it engaging is the person, not so much what they're talking about, but, who they are. And so for me, what does that mean? Okay, so I'm some guy. I live in the Bible Belt. I'm a gay, liberal atheist. And that's fine, but I'm not the only gay liberal atheist. I mean, there's plenty of us, believe it or not. There's a lot of people who identify as that. And then there's a lot of people who identify as gay and liberal, but they still believe in God. Or they are straight liberal atheists, or they're straight, I don't know, conservative atheists. I guess those exist. Or there's straight liberal Christians or whatever. I mean, so there's so many different ways a person can be, obviously. I'm kind of saying stuff that's kind of stupid right now, but I am who I am. And so I think what makes a podcast interesting is that we have all these labels that we put on ourselves, but that at the end of the day, a person's ability to still make it personal and put their own imprint. Okay, let me put it to you this way. Nobody is going to be a gay liberal atheist exactly like I'm going to be a gay liberal atheist. I will be the best version of a gay liberal atheist that Daniel Cartier can be. Now, if I was trying to be the best gay liberal atheist that some other person could be, I would do a horrible job because I'm not another person. I'm me. So worrying about that me and like my version of being, and not just being a gay liberal atheist. I mean, that's just 3 labels. Obviously there's so much more to all of us. I mean, I'm also a musician, I'm a dog dad, I'm a partner, I'm been sober for almost 7 years. So I'm like really into, helping people get sober, and I love, building communities. So I'm like, really, I love getting involved in like community things, and I love making art, and, I love nature, and I really value my family and friends and all of that stuff. So, all that, I mean, a life is made up of so many different things. It's really like we're with ourselves 24 hours a day. So there's so many things about all of us. And so that gets me to the sixth thing. That's hard to say. Sixth thing. Anyways, that gets me to that, which is that, I don't know, like, I think one of the other things that I had to do was I had to kind of like, not just get away from the podcast, but I kind of had to get away from everything. Because honestly, you guys, everything's just been so fucking crazy with Donald Trump and with MAGA and with freedom of speech and with all the fucking stuff that's going on right now. And so much misinformation everywhere. And so much, I don't even know how to describe it, like proud ignorance, like where people just were really proud of being ignorant about stuff, like where they were really, and just being really blatant about their racism and sexism and homophobia and transgender, like transphobia. And, I don't know, man. It was starting to really wear me down. I was starting to feel really dark about everything. Really dark. Like to the point that like I had a couple days where I felt absolutely like, what was the fucking point of anything? And when I get to that point, that's like a warning sign for me where I need to kind of back off and kind of not worry what the fuck else the world's doing, because the world's going to be doing all sorts of fucking bullshit. I mean, that I do know. Like, the world's going to keep being the world. And the world is full of people doing fucking horrible things. And if we're not careful, we will just focus on that. And we'll kind of lose sight of the fact that there's people doing a lot of wonderful things too. And so I found myself going down into this rabbit hole where everything sucked and everything was pointless and everything was hopeless and everything was, it might as well just fucking like end it all. And, yeah. And so that was one of the other reasons why I had to kind of pull away. And I even pulled away from like, social media and like, just kind of like, I don't know, like everybody, like I would wake up in the morning and like one of the first things I would do is like look at Facebook. And it's like, really, is that the first thing you want to fucking look at in the morning? Like Facebook? First of all, dude, you're 56 years old. You've lived such a rich and storied life. And you've got these 3 beautiful dogs. You have this beautiful partner. Like you have like a cool, funky house that's filled with art and books and literature and, cool friends. And the first thing you're going to do when you wake up and you open your eyes is like, look at Facebook. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's such a shitty way to start the day, I think. So I think I needed to back away from that as well and kind of look at like, what the fuck are my priorities, So that brings me to thing number 7. If this is a meandering episode, because I had to record a meandering episode to get the ball rolling again, and you don't like the fact that it's a meandering episode and you think it's just really unfocused and not professional and that I should have some script and that it should be all like tied up with a bow so it's acceptable to you, you know what, dude? I don't fucking care. Like, I'm just doing the best I can. Like, this is me getting back on the horse after not filming an episode for a month. This is how I was able to start doing it again, was I needed to just press record and start talking. I could not think about it too much, because if I thought about it too much, I would put it off. And sometimes, the only way we can start doing stuff again is to just fucking start doing it. That's a big part of me being an atheist, by the way, is that back when I still kind of believed in higher power, people would say stuff to me like, oh, it's just destiny. It's destiny, like that this is going to happen to you, or that's going to happen, or God's going to do this for you, or God's going to do that for you. And the weird thing about being an atheist is you don't have that. Like, I don't have some God's not going to do fucking jack shit for me because I don't believe God's real. No offense if that's what you believe. Like, if you believe they're in God, great. I'm happy for you. I don't. So yeah, a lot of times for an atheist, it's like, well, fuck, man. You know, like if I'm going to start recording a podcast again, like I can't wait for God to inspire me to do it or the universe or anything. Like I just have to fucking start doing it, you know? And so, or not, which brings me to thing number, I don't know, am I on thing number 8 or thing number 9? I'm losing track. The list isn't that fucking important, but it brings me to my next point, which is that I gotta be honest with you. I know I just said that I'm not doing this for any sort of response or like chasing heart emojis or anything like that, but I will say my ego is one of the reasons why not my ego. Yeah, well, fuck it. My ego is one of the reasons that I was like, okay, you need to record another episode because I do not want to give people who hate my views and think I'm, you know, fucking full of shit or whatever. I don't want to give them the satisfaction of thinking like, oh, he quit doing his podcast. Like he took all his atheist toys and he went home, you know, like, no, fuck that. Like, no. So I know that's kind of lame. That's not the most spiritual motivation, but whatever, who cares? I'm only human. And so the thought of like some MAGA troll out there feeling like they posted some shitty comment last month, you know, and that, oh, look, I posted this shitty comment. I told him he was a pile of shit. And so then he stopped filming his podcast. Like, no, I don't want to give people the benefit of that. So, so yeah, well, whatever, who cares? And so then the next thing I wanted to say, and I am going to take some calls. I actually do have some calls. People have still been leaving messages for me. So I actually have some calls I can take. So that's kind of fun. That will give this episode some fucking structure. But what was I going to say? Think, Daniel. I was just about to say something. This is why it is good to have notes, by the way, because the notes will, you know, I didn't make any notes for this. I just started talking, but the notes do actually fucking help a little bit because I do kind of get lost. Like I'll start talking about something else and I'll go down this tangent. But what was I? Hold on. Oh yeah, I remember what it is now. The next thing I wanted to say, and then I'm going to take some calls and then I'll probably talk a little bit more, is that if you are racist, that's stupid. And if you're homophobic, that's fucking dumb. And if you're transphobic, that's fucking stupid too. And if you are sexist, that's fucking ridiculous. And if you're a fascist, like if you're a fascist and you probably don't think you are. This is the thing. The people who are racist don't think they're racist. The people who are sexist don't think they're sexist. The people who are homophobic don't think they're homophobic. The people who are transphobic, well, they probably know they're transphobic and they don't care because I don't know, they just don't care. But the people who are truly like supporting fascism, which we are watching fascism in America blooming like a big ugly flower underneath Donald Trump. The people supporting all this and cheering for it, they don't think it's fascism. They think it's just patriotism or I don't know what the fuck they think it is. But I will tell you, I looked up the definition of fascism. It is fascism. That's what it is. It is somebody who wants to consolidate power so that it's all underneath them. It's this very authoritarian government where they want to take away the people's rights to speak out against the government or anything like that. I mean, this is all the type of stuff Donald Trump's been trying to do. So I think that's one of the other reasons why it took me so long to start posting again. I got to be honest, because every day there was so much fucking stuff happening over this past month. It's like every day there was like more shit that I could talk about to the point that it was like, I didn't even know where to fucking begin. I mean, you guys, We have a fucking president. And I know this is old news at this point because the No Kings protest happened a couple weeks ago. So like now it's just kind of like old news. But it doesn't take away the fact that we had a president post a fucking video where he was shitting on American citizens. He was dumping shit on American citizens doing what America was founded on, protesting. And he was wearing a king's crown, too. I mean, if Joe Biden had done that, or Obama, can you imagine? I actually, there was a book that I wanted to write, and maybe somebody else can write it because I'm never going to fucking write it. But, I wanted to write this book called If Obama, and then just, have it be, every page be if Obama had called countries shitholes. If Obama had mocked a disabled person. If Obama had bragged about grabbing women by the pussy. If Obama had colluded with a foreign power to influence an election. If Obama had, and just go on and on and on and on and on about all the things Trump has done that we know he's done. We have video proof and audio proof and documents and all this other stuff that prove that Donald Trump has done all this stuff. Just switch it to Obama. The difference, you know what I think? Okay, so the people who think they're not racist, but no, dude, you're actually fucking racist because these people who think it's okay to pardon the January 6th rioters. I mean, I think they were domestic terrorists, the people who attacked our nation's capital on January 6th, and then Donald Trump pardoned them. The same people who think that's okay, if all those rioters had been black and they had been attacking the nation's capital on behalf of Obama, dude, the reaction would have been oh my God, they all need to be killed. You know what I mean? But a bunch of white Cracker Barrel people fucking attacking our nation's capital on behalf of Donald Trump. Oh, no, that's fine. And by the way, let's pardon all of them. And some of them are actually running for public office now. So forgive me if I see that as being kind of fucking racist, that, it's okay for all these hee-haw people to be attacking our nation's capital on behalf of Donald Trump. But if it was black people doing it for a black president, you guys would be freaking out. And I'm sorry, that makes you racist. You may disagree with me and whatever, that's your fucking business. We're all adults. Go write about it in your diary or whatever. But yeah, it's racist of you. Anyways, let's take some fucking calls. Back for I think this is one of the other things is I'm back for what? After not posting for a month, and I'm already accusing people of being racist and stuff. And it's oh, Daniel, it's your life's already so fucking complicated. And now you're telling people that they're racist. But I mean, some people are fucking racist. Anyways, and they're also homophobic and transphobic and fucking sexist and just fucking lame people. Anyways, let's see who called. Hello.
Hey, Daniel. Just wondering what pisses you off the most. All right, thanks.
Oh, man. That was perfect. What pisses me off the most? I think I just listed off a bunch of stuff that pisses me off. Okay, you know what pisses me off the most? This is just the first thing that comes to my mind. Willful ignorance. People who are just proud of being stupid. They're proud. They are proud that... I mean, it's almost like we live in a country now where people know that they're being fed bullshit and they just don't fucking care because it's their side's feeding them the bullshit. So they're all in on it and they're yeah, I'm totally down with that. This willful ignorance. I started seeing it. I started really noticing it actually years ago. There was this, I know this is going to be kind of a weird segue, but, there was this website for a while that was dedicated to all the fried foods that you can get at a Texas state fair. And I mean, literally, there was so many different things you could get deep fried, deep fried Oreos, deep fried Twinkies, deep fried this, deep fried that. They even had whole hamburgers that were then breaded and deep fried, hamburgers in buns that were then breaded and deep fried. They had deep fried fucking butter, y'all, deep fried butter. And so there was these people, I just remember seeing this this like news story. I don't know. It was on some fucking channel where they were interviewing people at this Texas State Fair, and they were just like, yeah, we're getting deep fried butter. And like these people looked like they were about to have like heart attacks. And I don't know why, but I always think about those people when I think about when I see people commenting now, and it's like it's clear that it's almost like you must know somewhere deep down in your soul that what you are being fed by whatever news outlet, quote unquote news outlet, that you're getting your information from, you must know on some level that it's bullshit. But you clearly just don't care. You don't care because maybe it's more entertaining. Maybe the stuff that you're like, the bullshit that you're parroting, like, about, I don't know, Hunter Biden's fucking laptop or whatever the fuck whatever it is. Maybe it's just more entertaining to you. I actually think one of the reasons why Donald Trump has been so successful is because, as hideous as he is, it's entertainment for people. I found myself in 2015 when he really kind of took off, because before that, he was just kind of this sad political footnote, like, oh yeah, Donald Trump, like he did his whole birther conspiracy theory with Obama. Do you remember all that, where he was convinced that Obama had not been, I mean, it was just basically racism. That's all it was. Obama's black, so he must be from like a different country. I mean, that's really how that all came across. But, so Trump was behind all that. But I mean, he was just kind of this like sad little fucking carnival barker, and nobody took him seriously. And then I remember in 2015, it kind of started shifting, and all of a sudden there was this big wave of Donald Trump, MAGA, whatever. And it was like a perfect storm. And maybe it was because all the other political candidates running then were just milquetoast, like they were just like not exciting, and people wanted something exciting. I think about that line in Smells Like Teen Spirit, like, here we are now, entertain us. And I kind of feel like America was at that point where they wanted the fucking circus. That's what they wanted. And so that's what they voted for. And I found myself buying into it too. Like, I found myself every day, like, I would wake up and I would one of the first things I'd Google was Trump. Like, what did he say now? Like, what, it's like, it was almost like a TV show. Like, what's the next episode? Like, what now he said this, like now he's mocking a disabled person. Now he's, doing this thing or that, like some, whatever, like all the fucking crazy things he did. I'm not going to start listing them all off because it's so many, but, yeah, I think that's been the thing that's worked for him the most, is just the fucking clown show. It's entertaining in a really sick way. And but I'll tell you guys, it's also empty calorie entertainment. It's not gonna pay your bills. It's not gonna put groceries on your shelf. It's not going to lower prices. It's not going to give people who are about to lose their fucking health care. It's not going to give them health care. It's not going to make the income inequality that we're seeing any better, because let me tell you, since Trump's assumed office, billionaires have amassed so much more fucking wealth. It's obscene. Elon fucking Musk, like $186 billion more dollars since Donald Trump assumed. I think it's about $186 billion. It may even be more, but that's the last figure that I saw. So I know that Mark Zuckerberg, I don't know, some other big, like $48 billion or some fucking such bullshit. But and then Donald Trump, I mean, with all his cryptocurrencies and gold sneakers and fucking, the Melania coin and the Trump meme coin. Do you know how much money people have lost investing in that fucking bullshit? Trump has made a ton of money. Selling his fucking autographed Bibles, selling shit, selling Trump shit like a White House gift shop. He's just like a An opportunist. That's all he is. Like, how much money can I grift off the American public? And, and he is. And it's like P.T. Barnum said, there's a sucker born every minute. And, so Donald Trump's like profited billions of dollars. And then you get these people who are like, he gave up his, pay. He's doing this for free. It's like, he's not fucking doing this for free. Are you on drugs? Do you know how much money he's profited? And now he's like, wants to sue the fucking government for investigating all his fucking crimes. He wants like, what, $270 million? Well, people are losing their fucking SNAP benefits, and they're losing their, they're going to be losing their health care. I mean, I haven't even mentioned the fact that we're in a fucking government shutdown right now, Anyways, yeah, so willful ignorance really pisses me off. It makes me mad because, it's lazy. It's just fucking lazy, Right now, I mean, there's going to be so many repercussions to everything we see going on right now. Do you realize, like, if people can't eat, what the fuck are they supposed to do? I mean, we're going to see a rise in crime, not because people are bad people, but because it's like they're not going to have any choice but to fucking, like, if you're about to starve to death, what the fuck else are you supposed to do? And food banks run out of food. What are people supposed to fucking do? And if they have kids, or that, it's like, desperate people do desperate things. That's what causes crime, desperation. It's not because people are, I mean, yes, there are bad criminals. Don't get me wrong. So I know if you're MAGA, you're going to be watching this and you're going to be like, oh, he's just like, thinks, like criminals are lovely people. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is a lot of people who commit crimes are just desperate people who are just in horrible situations and they don't know what the fuck else to do. There's a lot of that. And we're going to see a lot more of that if people don't have any resources, if they don't have any way to eat, that's like the one basic human necessity we should make sure is always there. And it's not the Democrats' fault. All of this hinges on the fact that, I mean, I'll just, I'm simplifying it a little bit right now, but let's take away people's health care. Let's make it more expensive now so that we can take that money and give billionaires tax breaks. I mean, that's basically what's going on. I mean, I'm oversimplifying it, but I don't fucking care. Let's take away from people who are already struggling so that people who have more money than they will ever know what to do with, or their children or their grandchildren will ever know what to do with. Let's give them more money. That's the system we have now, and it fucking sucks. Fucking sucks. And so if you're cheering for that, man, do me a favor and go to the mirror and look at yourself and say this sentence to yourself. I have shitty values. Because you do. You have shitty values. If you want billionaires to make even more money and you're okay with your neighbor not being able to go to the doctors when they have a medical emergency or, eat. Yeah, anyways. I did not mean to go so haywire here, but I get really worked up. I think maybe that's the other reason why I had to take some time off, because you guys, when I start talking about all this stuff, I do get really upset. And it's not like it doesn't affect me. It's like I know that after I stop recording, this is going to be with me for the rest of the night. This is the type of stuff I'm going to be thinking about, so it's not like I just film these things and then I don't have any thoughts about it afterwards. I have a lot of fucking thoughts about it. Anyways, let's take another call and see what else people have to say. But thank you for that question. That was a wonderful question. Oh, by the way, you can leave me a voicemail for the next episode at speakpipe.com/there is no God and we're all gonna die. Speakpipe.com/there is no God and we're all gonna die. Or you can just go to my website, danielcartier.com, and you can, I think there's a button right on the homepage somewhere call the show, or click on podcast. I think there's a podcast thing in the menu, and then you can go there, and then there's a button to take you to the address that I just said. So anyways, that's my little fucking plug for that, because I do like getting your voice messages. All right, what is this one? What does this person have to say? Hello? Hello, hello.
Hi, Daniel. I just finished watching a movie called Swan Song. And I haven't felt that moved by a movie in a couple of years. And your song at the end, it was really beautiful.
Oh.
So I looked you up, and here you are. You are a real person. And you're colorful and beautiful and creative and open. And I'm using something called SpeakPipe now to talk to you. Anyway, thank you for being warm and loving. It's nice to connect. You feel safe.
Oh, that was the nicest message. Thank you so much. Wow. That is lovely. And I feel so bad after all the ranting and raving I just did. Then to listen to this really beautiful message. Oh, I do not know who you are. I have no idea. It's just one of the messages. But that was just so sweet. Thank you so much. I think you said you saw Swan Song. Okay, yeah. Swan Song is a movie directed by my wonderful friend, Todd Stevens. He's an amazing filmmaker. He made the movie Gypsy 83, The Edge of 17. And so he just directed a couple years ago this movie called Swan Song that had Jennifer Coolidge, Udo Kier, this very famous German actor, Linda Evans from Dynasty. She played Crystal in Dynasty. Todd is just such a sweetheart, and we've known each other for years. And so he actually had me and his brother Chris Stevens did the soundtrack for that. Did an amazing job. And so I lent some vocals. If you watch the movie, you can kind of hear me vocalizing during some of the scenes. Like I'm kind of going like, oh yeah, like I'm doing that type of thing. And but it's all echoey. And then at the end, my song Hovering plays over the closing credits, and it was just such an honor to be part of that, because it's a really beautiful story about this guy who's in an old folks home, and he's this hairdresser. He's like this gay hairdresser, and we forget about like the elderly. A lot of times they're in these nursing homes, and they kind of feel like life has forgotten them, and so this guy has fallen into that, where he's had this really colorful life at one point. He had been this really flamboyant hairdresser, like living this really amazing life. And then, now he's in this nursing home, and he's just kind of there, and he just feels all alone. And so then a bunch of stuff happens, and he ends up basically breaking out of the nursing home and going on this like road trip, kind of like, it's like this journey of self-discovery in his quote unquote old age. And it's a really lovely movie. It's actually very moving. It's very touching, and I love the fact that my friend did a movie about this. Like, it just says so much about Todd's character that he would choose this as And it was actually, there was a real hairstylist from, because it took place in Sandusky, Ohio, and there was a real hairstylist from, I guess, the 70s or 80s that he remembered from when he was a little kid. And so he based the character on this real hairstylist that had existed at one point. And yeah, so, it was just so cool to be part of that. And I'm so glad you got to see it. And then you tracked me down. You found out who I was and you tracked me down and you left this really lovely message. And I really appreciate that, you I don't know. I just appreciate your honesty and your openness. And that was just a really lovely message to hear. I can rant and rave, and I am guilty of that. I can get really under the collar. I swear like a truck driver. I drop F-bombs all the time, especially when I'm mad. The only thing I get mad about, though, is people being mean. That's the thing. I guess that's another addendum. Addendum, is that the right word? To the last question, the gentleman who asked me what pisses me off the most. Needless meanness. Is that the right way to say it? Meanness for the sake of just being mean. And there's so much of that nowadays. There's so much of that, where people they just want to be mean. I have this song on my album, The Angry Album. I recorded this song, The Angry Album, last year, and it's on Spotify. You can check it out. It's a pretty cool album, but it's all political. It's like the most political album I ever recorded, and it's like 21 songs. But one of the songs is called Hate, and the lyrics are like, all we do is hate. Basically, it's all about there's people whose their entire life is just like being online, hating other people. Like that's what they do. Like they get online and I've been guilty of it. I've found myself rolling around in the mud with other people and flinging mud, just as much as the other person. And it's not the man that I want to be. And so when somebody leaves a message and says that I feel safe, like that, there's something about me that makes them feel safe. It's a reminder to me, like, dude, they're talking about your best self. They're not talking about the version of you that is rolling around in the mud and flinging insults at MAGA people and being really hateful. And so it reminds me that maybe I need to aspire to be that person who would feel safe to somebody else, because that's a wonderful thing to aspire to. So thank you for that reminder. It's something that I think I need. Especially coming back into this podcast. It's weird, it's weird. Recording this podcast is so weird because I just realized I've just been talking nonstop now for, I don't even know how long. Was it like a half an hour, 40 minutes? I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't really see how much time has elapsed, but I think a lot of time, and I don't know. I'm sure I've said some stuff that would piss some people off, but I can't really worry about that either, So anyways, thank you for, I'm kind of going all over the place right now, but thank you for that message. That was really sweet to hear. That is just so lovely. And please feel free to call back. And just know that I'm sending you a ton of love. I'm sending everybody love. Here's the thing. I'm sending everybody love. I mean, even if you voted for that fucking lying sack of shit who's in the White House right now, who just lies and lies and lies and is corrupt, and if you ask me, the worst president we've ever had, and it would be one thing if he was just incompetent, but I think he's just also like mean. I think he's a fucking douchebag. But anyways, even if you love him and you hate everything that I stand for, and you think that I'm a horrible person, and you hate the fact that I'm an atheist, and you hate the fact that I'm gay, I just want to go on record and say, the weird thing is I'm still sending you love because that's how I'm designed. I can send everybody love. Love is easy for me because love is free. It doesn't cost me anything to love people. I can give out love like it's fucking candy at Halloween. And so I do love everybody. Well, I don't love Donald Trump. There's a couple people in very high exalted places that I think my love kind of stops. They already have enough stuff. They don't need my love. But the people who are on the same level as me, my fellow human beings that I live amongst, and a lot of them don't vote the way I vote. A lot of them worship a God that I don't believe in. A lot of them hate the fact that I don't worship that God. A lot of them hate the fact that I am a big old homosexual, and that I support trans rights and the rights of the marginalized communities. And I don't view people coming to this country. I would never call somebody illegal. I hate that. They're a human being. I'm not going to describe somebody as an illegal. So that's where I'm coming from. And so people who hate the fact that those are my views, I can't hate them. I know that it sounds like I hate you guys when I'm talking because I get all hot under the collar, but that's just me being angry. I can get angry at you, but still love you. But here's the thing that I don't give away. I don't give away respect. And I don't give away trust. So I may still love you even though you voted for that fucking lying sack of shit. I may still love you as a fellow human being, but I don't respect you. I don't respect your views. And I don't trust you. Like what because you're not giving me a reason to trust you. Anyways. Again, thank you for that message. That was lovely. And now I'm going all over the place. Let's listen to another message. Who else called? I know that this is kind of a weird episode. I don't fucking care. I'm just getting back into the swing of things.
Hi, Daniel. It's Ian calling from across the Atlantic again. I'd like to touch on something you mentioned in the last episode about the likes of Trump being miserable and sowing the seeds of hatred. To me, as a British outsider, I can't understand what his end game is. What the hell is he trying to achieve and why? What does he gain from being a racist, homophobic dick? He's already in charge of the most powerful nation on earth. Why doesn't he use that position to do good? He and people like him must know that being full of hatred is wrong. They must do, surely. What are they afraid of? They claim to be Christians, but I thought the Bible said, amongst other things, to love thy neighbour and things like that. The way they act doesn't seem remotely Christian to me. I'd quite like your thoughts on that. Love from London.
Aww. Well, Ian, as always, it's really nice to hear from you. I love that you've called. I think this is like the 4th time you've called my podcast. So you're kind of becoming a little podcast celebrity. I think I just kind of laid it all out when I was talking before. I think Donald Trump just gives a shit about Donald Trump. And I think he's just a con artist and a carnival barker and a grifter that I think, he had some fucking good luck over the last 10 years. He got a bunch of fucking people to buy into his snake oil salesman fucking bullshit, And I think all you need to know about Donald Trump is his meme coin. That's Donald Trump. His fucking meme coin that he's made billions of dollars on, and other people will lose billions of dollars on, and he doesn't fucking care. Donald Trump's the guy who declared bankruptcy a zillion times and didn't pay workers as a result. And that's how he was able to build his wealth, was by not fucking paying people. And he's not losing sleep over it. I don't think he fucking cares. And so, yeah, he could be using his position to do all this good, but he's just, at the end of the day, he's just this self-serving person. I mean, I could go on and on and on about it, but I think, I've kind of, already kind of went on and on and on about it, a bunch during this episode. So yeah, I agree with your frustration. I can't imagine because I know that you're calling from England, and does it, I guess, does it seem like America's just like having a fucking nervous breakdown? How do we come across to people in other countries? What, if you go and this would be a good thing if you could call back at some point and just give us all the scoop on what the average person in England, like if they bump into somebody else and you guys start talking about America, like, what do you guys say about us? What is the general consensus right now? I would be very, very, very curious to hear, like, what the average person on the street in England, I think England is, it's like you are one of our allies. What does the average person on the street in England say about America? Like, do you just think like we're like the biggest like train wreck from hell at this point? Feels like we are. Anyways, I am sending you a ton of love across the pond, and you know that I love, 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 love your sexy British accent. It is just, it just warms my heart. I could listen to that all day. All right. I think we have one more call. And then I will be winding it up. There's so many other things I could have talked about. I have I'm looking at this notebook. I did have a bunch of stuff written down. I've already blabbed enough. Let's listen to this last message, and then we will wrap it up.
Hey, Daniel. It's Ruben from Dixon, Tennessee.
Aww.
Seeing as to how this podcast is about the end of the world, what would your last meal be if you knew the world was ending and you had one final thing to eat?
Oh, wow. What a great question. Well, I would probably want to eat my favorite food. What is my favorite food? I love food. Oh my God. I am obsessed with food. I love to cook. Cooking is one of my love languages. I love making meals for people. I know I've shared about this before on the podcast, but I love, like, I'll make cookies and I'll bring them all over town. I bring them to the police department, both banks, the Mennonites. I bring them to the post office. I bring them to the fire department. I bring them to my neighbors, even neighbors that did not vote the way I did. I still bring them cookies. You see? So I don't hate people. I'm still a nice person to people. Anyways, yeah, so I love cooking. But what would if it was my last meal? I'm trying to think, like, what, I mean, I love sushi. I do. No offense if, like, you don't. I do love sushi. I don't eat it that much because I live out in the middle of Tennessee, and we actually do have some good sushi restaurants here. But yeah, so I do love sushi. But I don't know if I'd want that to be my last meal. Oh my God. You know what I think I'd want? And this is so trashy, and I don't care. I mean, here's the thing. If it's my last meal, if the world's going to end and it's my last meal, then I kind of don't have to give a shit about health, right? Like, my health, I mean, it's like, we're all going to die. So it's like, might as well just friggin' eat whatever the fuck I want at that point. I think I would buy a big thing of, I never eat ice cream. I don't know why I never think of eating it, but I know that when my dog passed away, this summer, my eldest dog, the first thing I wanted ice cream. Like, I wanted comfort food. And because I'm kind of controlling about my food, I'm not going to get into why, but, like, eating healthy and whatever, and then, like, so anyway, I'm not going to get into all my psychodrama with food, but I don't really allow myself to, like, eat, like, I don't eat ice cream that often, and I don't, anyways, but I do love ice cream, and so, but then, because I'm the type of person that it's like, oh, well, I could eat an apple instead, it's like, so I'm like one of those people who's like, oh, or I could eat, like, some watermelon or some, which, I love fruit. I love, or I could eat some walnuts or some almonds. And it's like, so I'm not going to eat that ice cream. I'm going to eat something healthy. And so, which is fine. I mean, it's nice to eat healthy, and I do like eating healthy, but I think if I knew I was going to die and the world was going to end, I'd want a nice big pint of ice cream, and I would want to just eat it all. And I'd want to sit there with my dogs and pet my dogs and maybe watch some Project Runway and wait for the world to end. I'd want to just hang out, watch some Project Runway, and know that at some point, like, I'd be vaporized, and, so I'd want to just be like with my dogs on the couch with Corey and watching something, or maybe some Parks and Recreation or some like an episode of The Office or something. And I just want to be like nerd out, like veg out, and, be wearing comfortable clothes, like, some like some pajamas or something, and I would just want to have like a pint of ice cream. And the type of ice cream I like ice cream with like a lot of stuff in it. So like I know something, Corey really likes vanilla ice cream. Like he loves vanilla ice cream. Well, good vanilla ice cream, like that you like made with real vanilla where you can actually see the flecks of vanilla in it. And I get that, like that's really good. But I like ice cream that has like a bunch of crap in it, like, fudge swirls and chocolate chunks and peanut butter filled chocolate covered this or chocolate covered that and caramel this and caramel that. Like I like the ice cream that has like a zillion different things in it, because I don't know, maybe because I have ADD or something, but like I like really complicated, like like fudge mocha swirl, chocolate chunk, caramel pecan surprise, or I don't know, like whatever the fuck it is. That's the type of ice cream I like. And so I would want that, and I would eat it, and I would love it. And then at some point there'd be a big flash in the sky, and that would be that. And then it would be like I was never here, and the world would be done. And I ended it eating some ice cream and petting my dogs and watching Project Runway or The Office or some dorky show or Arrested Development or something. And it'd be great. Anyways, so I will be back. I will start posting these episodes again. I'm very proud of myself for showing up. And again, if you are listening to this and you hated this episode and you're like, yeah, this guy's just blabbing on and on about like a bunch of bullshit, I'm still glad you're here, and thanks for showing up, and thanks for listening. If you got this far, you must have liked something that I said, because I think I talked for about an hour. But anyways, I'm going to go and I'm going to stop filming now, and I am going to be back next week. Again, DanielCartier.com. If you go to DanielCartier.com and you click on podcast, there's a button that it'll take you to where you can leave me a voice message. So just go to DanielCartier.com, DanielCartier.com, and then click on podcast in the menu, and there will be a button that says call the show. Call the show, and you can leave me a voice message, and you can say anything you want, really. You can be like, Daniel, I hate you, I think you're stupid, and your podcast is dumb, and I hope you rot in hell. And I'll be like, okay, awesome. Well, thank you for leaving me a voice message, and I'll respond to it. I don't care. Hey, at least you're not apathetic. You had an opinion about me, and I respect that. Or you can call and be like, oh, I love what you're doing. Or you could call and you don't even need to make it about me. You can actually tell me something that you think is cool about the universe. Give me a fact about the universe that you find fascinating. Because, that's one of the reasons why I'm an atheist, is because I started looking around at all the facts about the universe, and they were just already so amazing that I was like, I don't really need to put a God on top of all of this. The fact that it takes light 100,000 years to travel from one corner of just our galaxy to the other side of the galaxy, 100,000 light years. And that's just our galaxy. There's all these others. There's like hundreds of billions of galaxies out there. So, it just puts things in perspective, And, yeah, like we are just this tiny little speck. And when I think about that type of stuff, I get a lot of comfort out of my smallness and my insignificance. I really do. It makes me realize that all the stuff that I worry about, like worrying about what people think of this meandering podcast, like who gives a flying fuck? Like who cares? I'm just some douchebag talking and recording myself. It doesn't really matter. None of this will matter 100 years from now. So we might as well just try to make the best of our life right now. And so for me, that means speaking up when I see things that I don't agree with. It means being honest about my feelings. It means not apologizing for the way I feel. And it means speaking up when I see people being douchebags to other people, like when I see them being racist or sexist or homophobic or transphobic or trying to take away people's rights, I want people to enjoy their life while they're here, and it's hard for people to enjoy their life when other people are trying to take their rights away. That's what this is all about. Anyways, I think that's a good place to end, and I will be back next week. All right, you guys, I love you, and take care, and happy Halloween. There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God and we're all gonna die. There is no God, there's just you and I.